Rogers TV North Durham Kawartha acknowledges that we are situated on the Mississauga lands and the traditional territory covered by the Williams Treaties. We are grateful for the opportunity to work here, and we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. We also recognize the contributions of Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples, both in shaping and strengthening this community and country as a whole.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Welcome to Modern Business, the show that bridges the gap between the viewer and the entrepreneur or market maker. I'm your host, Taylor Bursey, and today's guest falls under the market maker category. We are joined by Melyssa Sargent, who works as the operations manager at her family farm, Sargent Family Dairy. Here to talk all about her role in the family business, please welcome Melyssa. Now, Melyssa, in your own words, what is Sargent Family Dairy?
Sargent Family Dairy started as just a regular dairy farm. My family, for 4 generations, has been farming with Jersey cows, and I'm the 4th generation to want to take over the family business, and I also, alongside my 2 brothers, Bender and Daniel, want to take it over. And unfortunately, in today's society world, milking 60 cows and having potentially 4 families, 60 cows isn't going to pay the bills. So we were all coming out of school, and we started researching other ways. Rather than growing the farm bigger, we wanted to be a little smarter. At that time, a lot of literature was coming out about the Jersey cow milk and how it was a little more nutrient dense in comparison to other breeds. So we knew we had that on our side, and we also had a couple friends that were already doing the on-farm processing, so we had visited them and done our research there. So in 2020 we started the journey of opening the dairy, and we've been open for 2 years now, and all the milk that is processed at our dairy comes from our family farm, our Jersey. So from the beginning of feeding the cows to bringing the milk over to putting it into the glass bottle, we're very involved with from beginning to end of the cycle. And you can either buy our products on farm at the on-farm store, or you can check out any of our retailers in the Durham region, Kawartha, Peterborough County area.
Wow, that's incredible. And there's a lot to unpack there. So safe to say the family operation started with, I think you said 60 dairy cows. Mm-hmm. And then you're absolutely right. In this day and age, as a family business and potentially having 4 families on farm, that could be a little challenging. So you have to think outside the box. Now, did you all sit down as a family and go, okay, this is going to be our future, so here's how we have to do it? Or what was the process like to kind of turn that switch into, we need to elevate our family business?
Yeah, about 7 years ago, I want to say. Obviously, all of us getting out of post-secondary, or my younger brother was just starting, we sat down and started thinking of an idea. And at that time, my dad was the president of the Breed Association, and he had the opportunity to go not only across Ontario, but also to other provinces to see what other families were doing. And at that time, like I said, the literature was coming out with the positive impact that Jersey milk had, and we sat down and thought, we had my older brother owns a marketing business, so we had that on our side. Okay. My sister is very smart, and she's also very
savvy.
Yeah, and then obviously my 2 other brothers that just are passionate about our farm and seeing that through. So we all had the equal amount of drive to make it happen. So we sat down with what jobs, what kind of like a vision board of what we saw the business being, what we wanted to portray. We wanted to portray that we were a family run business. We were honest, and we want to put out the most genuine product as possible, and just support the local economy and the local community.
Absolutely. So when you started with those 60 cows, were they Jersey cows, or did you have to pivot the type of farming you were doing to obviously produce these products?
No. So the Sargent family has had Jersey cows for 4 generations. So my great-grandpa started with Jersey cows, and we've just always kept with them. So luckily that was one thing that we knew we had for sure.
You knew how to do it. You knew how to do it well.
Exactly.
Just needed to scale.
Exactly.
So do you still have 60 cows, or how many cows are we working with now?
We milk 60. We have around 150. We're slowly growing a little, but nothing too crazy.
So talk to me about everyone's role. Can you give me a brief rundown of everyone in the family's description?
Yeah. So my dad's and mom are the CEO. They're the top of the food chain, I guess you could say. My dad focuses more on the dairy or the farm side, and then my mom's on the dairy with me. My one older brother, Daniel, he's kind of our fix-it guy, our crops guy, everything in the field when it comes to crop rotation and whatnot, that's his expertise. And then my younger brother does a lot of the cow care, so he is in charge of all the vet checks and all the auditing on that's part of it. He does all the milking and calf care and everything cow. He has his hands fully involved in that. My mom does a lot of the bookkeeping for the dairy, and also she's a retired nurse, so she's Miss Social Butterfly, I guess. So she's
awesome.
Yeah, so she's manages the staff in the store, and then I'm kind of behind the scenes at the dairy. I work with the retailers, and I make sure there's enough milk on the shelf. If there isn't that week, I'm sorry, but and then also I'm the licensed cream grader for the plant, so every plant needs a licensed cream grader to be able to smell whether or not the milk is good, so that's my job, along with the pasteurizing and the cheese making. And every state that the milk goes through from the farm until it reaches the store is my responsibility. So
You have quite a lot of responsibility.
yeah.
Now, did you know that this was always going to be your career path? Did you see yourself doing this, or how'd you get here?
No. Well, I always joke that 5 years ago I'd be like, no, this was not what I thought I was going to be doing. But I actually went to school for physio assistant. So it's just, I knew I always wanted to be involved with the farm in some capacity, and it just grew. The older I got, the more I realized that I wanted to spend more time on farm, and that was where my passion was. Not so much dealing with people as much, but but yeah, I had a lot of interesting opportunities when I was young coming out of school, and it just brought me home to the family farm.
So you're home at the family farm, and you take on this role as operations manager, and you're obviously a big part of the process in creating the products, whether it be milk or cheese or whatever you're creating. How did you know how to do that? Are you taking courses? What's the plan?
There is no plan. I was really fortunate with the mentorship that I got from other processors. I became really good friends with Patrick at Limestone, and we know John Miller, and I was pretty fortunate as well to get to go to Glengarry Cheese and learn how to make cheese. When we opened it, it was kind of like, we're doing this, figure out how to make this plausible, and that was my job. So I can consider Patrick a really close friend now, and I'm thankful for the help that he gave me, because when we started it, he always said the biggest kept secret is farm processing, because no one wants to tell you anything. So he was a huge help when it came to it. So all self-taught, but you learn, the best way to learn is from your mistakes, and that's how I did it, I guess.
And that's an amazing way to learn, and an incredible amount of responsibility for someone your age, right? You're basically coming straight out of school and walking into a full-scale operational position and kind of winging it, but also kind of not.
It's a little stressful.
Did you ever suffer from any kind of imposter syndrome at all?
I don't know. It was kind of just figured out, or fail and failure's not an option kind of thing. I don't know.
That's quite all right too. So what would you say was the most surprising part when you took on this role? Was there anything you weren't expecting to happen?
A lot of things.
Okay.
The first probably year is growing pains and just trying to figure out what does what and not to freak out. And some bad things are going to happen. Don't let it ruin your day kind of thing. It's just learning. Yeah.
Every day is a new challenge and you're just trying to tackle that challenge and move forward.
Yeah.
Now, I think you were saying to me off air that you were surprised at how many procedures had to be put in place when you first started. And especially with something like dairy, I assume that there are strict regulations that you have to follow?
Yeah, so a lot of people just think we bring the milk straight over from the farm. There are protocols through Dairy Farmers of Ontario that we need to order our milk prior to bringing it over, just to make sure that we have enough milk, but also the larger plants have milk or they aren't shorted, and the milk gets allocated to where it needs to go. There's an SOP for pretty much everything, down to washing your hands, so there's a lot of paperwork on that side. Every room has a specific cleaning procedure. Every temperature the milk goes through, it's documented. Every cleaning procedure for the pasteurizer, it's documented. It's very overseen, and which is it needs to be because it's food and people are digesting it, and it's important. People care about what they're putting into their body, but it's a lot from going from just getting up every morning to milking cows and feeding calves, and then you're this total different scale of
running an operation.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there's no playbook. You're just leaning on friends in the industry and figuring it out as you go while matching it with guidelines from whatever governing body there is.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the formula that you have?
Yeah, kind of. I find sometimes a plan works, but also happy accidents happen.
It's a challenge, no matter what way you slice it, but it's obviously a challenge that's working out pretty well for you guys so far.
Thankfully, yeah.
So, set the scene. What does the dairy farm look like? If from the way that you're describing it, it sounds like there's a road in between the two aspects of the farm.
Yeah, so right now the family dairy farm is across the road from the dairy, just because at the time that was where the dairy is built right now makes sense. We couldn't build on the same property as the farm, so we built the dairy across the road, and then hopefully potentially we'll be building a barn kind of close to that, just so it's less
Work.
Confusion.
Okay.
Exactly. But yeah, for now that's the setup.
Okay, interesting. On that note, we will come back to the farm operation and exactly what you do in your day-to-day right after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Hi, I'm Jackie Hermans, the host of Uxbridge Scugog Life. If you want to know what's going on in your community, this is the show to watch. So we cover North Durham and the Kawarthas. Uxbridge Scugog Life, only on Rogers TV.
I still remember the games. The laughter, the footsteps through the hallway. I'll never forget the challenges.
Every day I come back from work, it's always like this. We're yelling in front of the kids.
I'll never forget the help we needed. How far we've come.
Introducing Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Modern Business, the show that bridges the gap between the viewer and the entrepreneur or market maker. Today, we have a market maker on the show. Melyssa Sargent is the operations manager at her family dairy farm, Sargent Family Dairy. Now, Melyssa, before we took the break, we were talking about what the farm looks like. So on one side, you have the actual milking operation of the dairy farm, and then you cross the street and you have a processing plant. Talk to us about what you do at the processing plant.
So the processing plant is where all the milk is pasteurized and put into the bottles, and the cheese is made, and essentially everything with the Sargent Family Dairy label is packaged and sent out to retailers around the region.
That's amazing. And you are in charge of all of that.
Somewhat, yeah.
That is your creation and your concoctions, and you have, I'm assuming, different vats for different types of milk and everything like that?
Yeah. So we have 2 tanks for each kinds of milk we make, and then a massive cheese vat, so yeah.
Cheese is made in a vat?
Yeah, it's like a big bathtub kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. You learn something new every day. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting when you make cheese, but I wasn't expecting it to be in a giant bathtub.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay, very cool. And when it comes to making the milk and the cheese, again, is there a playbook for that, or are you just playing around with different types of, I guess, fermentation, or how does that work?
So everything's pretty much made within our pasteurizer, so we use a high temperature, short time pasteurizer, so the milk essentially gets heated up at an a high temperature really quickly, and then it's cooled down within 5 seconds, down to like 5 degrees. So when it's in the pasteurization system, it also gets separated and homogenized. So you separate milk because you want 2%. So our milk that the cows naturally produce is around a 5%, but it goes up a little higher in the winter because they're eating store feed.
Okay.
So like feed that we put away for the winter.
Of course.
So it has different nutritional, I guess,
densities.
Yeah. So it changes. So the separator will take off any extra cream. So when I'm taking off 2%, I'm skimming a fair bit of milk to get it down to 2% from 5. Like that's a lot of cream. And same for 3%. And then you generally skim and the cream comes off. That's coming out of the separator at the same time I shoot for around a 35% cream.
Okay.
So that people can make if they wanted to make butter with it, or their whipping creams or Cool Whip or whatever you want to do. And then that 35% is pasteurized again and sent through the system. Once it goes through the separator, it comes through the homogenizer, and the homogenizer is kind of a machine that puts all the cream under pressure, so that when you get it into the bottle, there won't be a massive cream top layer. Milk naturally has a huge cream top layer, and in Jersey milk it'll be a little more prominent just because of the high butter fat. So today's society isn't used to having such a massive cream top layer, so the homogenizer gets rid of that, and then it goes through the cooling section of the pasteurizer, and then it goes out to our product room, and it's sent to one of the product tanks where it's cooled down again, and then it gets sent to our bottle filler and goes straight into the fridge from there. So.
And the bottle filler and the fridge are on site as well?
Yeah, so like it's all one room. Cheese vat, 2 product tanks, bottle filler, and then bottle filler puts it in the bottles. We put a date on it, and then it gets rolled into the fridge. And then if you've come to our store personally, our fridge actually backs into the store fridge, so it's a massive it's like the big beer store fridge. Oh yeah. So all on site.
Very cool. And I also think it's important to note that the entire process starts and finishes at the farm, going all the way down to the food that your animals eat. I think you were saying that the only part that isn't developed on the farm could be maybe a little protein tablet or something like that?
Yeah, so the cows are fed a little bit of a protein ration, and the only thing that we don't grow, so there's a grain, corn, and protein that's mixed up through our feed mill, but the only thing that is brought onto the farm is a protein pellet.
That's incredible. So when people are buying products from Sargent Family Dairy, they are getting the cleanest, most well-rounded product they could possibly get within this market.
We try.
You
Yeah.
aim for that?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the retailers and the stores that you guys are in. So you're not just selling at your farm store, you've expanded beyond your community?
Yeah, so when we sat down 7 years ago, about the only person we told was one guy that we respected a lot for his business sense. He's had a business for over 35 years. He's very well known. And he's like, well, if you do it, I want to be your first retailer. So he was kind of like, okay, like the first shoe in.
Gateway?
Exactly, like gave you the confidence to kind of venture it a bit more. But most of our markets are like little farm stores like us. A lot of them are family friends that are kind of like us but selling their own products. And then there's some larger country stores that we're in that people just love because it's bringing back the nostalgia of the glass bottle. We have a lot of older that come in and they're super excited because that's how they grew up with their glass bottle. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you feel the demand for that? Is there a specific way these stores are ordering from you, or are you just consistently creating milk and cheeses to keep up?
So every Saturday we ask that our stores put in their order to get the delivery out the next following week, just because we aren't at the state that we're using 100% of our milk, so I still got to do some math.
Okay.
So that we're not taking too much or not enough. So it's just trying to find the supply and demand for that and regulate it as well as we can.
It's a nice balance, and it goes back to the point of you're learning through trial and error and experimentation.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the products that you guys are creating and selling in the stores and in your farm market.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we started out with 3 products. We started with a whole chocolate milk, a whole homo milk, and then the cheese curds. We have since probably expanded to probably 24 different products.
Wow,
Go
that's a
give or
lot.
take. Yeah. It's a little like nice because I was so nervous about starting, and then now to say 2 years in we've expanded that much is kind of amazing. So we ongoing throughout the year we make 2%, 3.25% coffee half and half, 35% chocolate milk cheese curds. We do a variety of flavored cheese curds. There's probably 4 flavors, and then we do a variety of mild cheddar like cheese as well.
Wow.
Camembert, and then we also do, I challenged myself pretty early on. I wanted to try and do a flavor of the month each month.
Flavored milk.
Yeah.
What types of flavors are you doing?
We started out with a mint chocolate because it was around St. Patty's Day, and I was like, oh, Shamrock Shake, let's
Okay.
play with that. And then I knew our one company that we use had an orange creamsicle milk, and I was like, I wanted to make that so bad. So I brought that out, and it went absolutely crazy.
Orange creamsicle milk. And that went crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
an interesting idea.
Yeah, and it's like huge with adults because they mix a little liqueur in there, and it's a nice mix. Yeah, and then we do a strawberry milk as well. The first August the company had a root beer flavored milk. I tried it. It went okay. Did it just to have fun. They won't be back, unfortunately. I'm sorry. And then we did a banana milk. We recently just did a vanilla milk. We do a coffee milk, eggnog, of course. So I'm constantly trying to figure out what to do, but also at the same time, we have customers. I want to move it around, but at the same time, you have customers being like, oh, when is this coming back? So it's hard to balance.
Creativity with demand.
Exactly. Like, I constantly get messages from family members like, bring back coffee milk. I'm like, it was just here. Like, it'll be worth the wait, I promise. So.
And
yeah.
that's part of it, right? You're creating that demand so that when you do remake a flavor that was really popular, you'll probably sell twice as much as you did the first time.
Yeah, and you get enough people talking about it, you get other people excited about it, then when it comes out, people come and get it. So.
Now, was this flavored once a month milk a marketing tactic, or was this your creative idea that's just kind of worked its way into a marketing tactic?
A little bit of both, because I thought a lot of people would want to come out just to try it, and then they'd, oh, well, you're here, you might as well buy a 2% or whatever, just to get more income, pay some bills. But it kind of just snowballed into something bigger.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So when we talk about snowballing, obviously people need to know where your business is, how to find it, and all that good stuff. So how do you guys market the farm externally?
Social media is a big part of that. We're a part of some organizations like a Farm Fresh, Durham Farm Fresh, but also a smaller A Country Path. It's just the little local artisanal farm stores in our area, kind of smaller Durham area. We use the radio a fair bit as well, so trying to venture other pathways, because we have a lot of older clientele, and they're like, we had a open house a couple weeks ago, we had no idea it was happening. We're like, it's harder to innovate and go along with obviously everyone's going social media wise, but also bringing back the
traditional aspect
exactly
of it.
Exactly.
And especially with it being a family operation, I'm assuming there's not a large amount of outside help, or how does that work?
No. Well, yes. When we started, obviously, it was a lot nicer to have free help, so family was
Yes.
Very helpful at that time, but we've since grown, and I think we have like eight employees right now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so slowly expanding.
And with that scale, the core family who started this venture, they don't have an abundance of free time, I'm assuming. So going out and educating everyone on your products is probably not something you get the opportunity to do as much as you guys would like. So dabbling in that traditional media is exactly how you're hopefully going to get those people to come back and see you guys.
I always laugh because my dad's like the best one for it, because he'll just be driving down the road on the tractor and he'll be feeding cows and people pull over and talk to him, but he like loves educating people about his day-to-day life. It's so funny, but that's also the nice thing about when we have our open houses, because we have him there and he gets to talk all about his favorite thing, and it's his cows. So
I love that.
yeah.
Now, do you have a trade tip for our audience today?
I would say you're just having a bad day. It's not a bad life. Some days are harder than others, but everything passes, and it'll be worth it. You gotta struggle a bit to reap the benefit.
I love that. Melyssa, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
This has been another edition of Modern Business with Melyssa from Sargent Family Dairy. We'll be back next time with another episode.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Man, is there a lot of pressure on this young fighter here tonight.
Fighting is life.
This is my belt. I earned this in blood, paid in full. This is mine.
Everyone gets knocked down, but fighters get back up.
You cannot break me, I promise you.